Well, Ethan Caughey, what do you mean by clip culture?
What do I mean by clip culture? You know, I kind of stumbled into the TLC a year ago, and you and Ron Copperman were the first people that I stumbled into. Um, and I'd like just come back on the internet when I don't know, a month before I met you last year.
Hmm.
I had been off the internet for 8 years. Yeah. Because when I was 25 years old, I was working in a mega church and I was on stage a lot. And I started like deconstruct. I started like be on stage in bright lights and saying words. And I was like, I don't believe these words anymore. So then I ran away to Los Angeles to like restart my life or something like that. And I deleted all my social media. I had done like a ton of youth group stuff. I had done a ton of summer camp stuff. And there were a lot of like middle schoolers, high schoolers, college kids like followed me online. And a lot of what I did on social media before I was 25 or like up until 25 was kind of like Christian-y encouragement for like young people type stuff or like trying to make the Bible cool. Cause I think the Bible's cool and I just think it's like wildly misunderstood. It's also like really hard. Um, so I deleted all my social media and I had like used YouTube to like listen to things. And then 8 years later, I'm 33 years old. I have this mystical experience that brings me back into the fold of Christianity. I come back on the internet. And one of the things that I wanted to do after having like a mystical experience that like kind of blew apart my deconstructed worldview was like argue with atheists. So like the first thing I did was I went to Reddit and I was like, I'm going to convince atheists on Reddit to like believe in God again. Like this is just what this is what I'm going to do with my free time because I was unemployed at the time. So I had lots of free time. I get on Reddit and it won't even let me post because I didn't have enough karma. And I was like, well, how do you get karma? So we have to like posts. And there was this whole like tiers of things just to like use Reddit. And I was like, I thought this was just like a message board.
Hmm.
So I had to like relearn everything about social media because it had changed a lot in those 8 years. And so like I'm of the age where I should be really into memes and like my friends are really into memes.
Mm-hmm.
And like my best friends have like an Instagram group chat where they send memes back and forth. And like I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I mean, I don't really even find it funny. Um and so then like this clip culture thing, that wasn't how the internet worked a decade ago. Like not precisely. And so part of this last year has been me like relearning how the internet works and how to like speak internet. And for me, it's been almost like a foreign language. And clip culture, to the best I understand, is like the best way to go viral. Cause it's essentially like finding someone with a big audience, usually, and then you like clip them so that their like name is attached to what you're doing. And then you like try to write a cool title and you try to write a cool thumbnail. And you try to like click the bait the click. And you try to like ride coattails kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about like virality, it kind of reminds me of what like Jordan Peterson would talk about pornography, where it's like, I think it was Jordan Peterson. I'm not sure though. Like with pornography use, it was like you start at like normal and then you just go more and more and more and more extreme across time, often. And clip culture is kind of that same thing where like it starts like, oh, I'm clipping somebody. And then it's like, well, what if I clipped this person? And then what if I like cut it up and like moved words around and to like, how can I make this like the most provocative? How can I make this like the most exciting? It's funny. I think it was last night or the night before. My dad was like, hey, Fear Factor's on. You want to watch Fear Factor? I was like, sure. I love Fear Factor. And like he's in the middle of the episode, he presses play. And I'm like, why are they in a house? Like, this isn't Fear Factor. And I was like, oh, they've rebooted Fear Factor and just done like the full reality show gossip. Like now the Fear Factor contestants have, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes of time where they just talk and yell at each other. And there's something in like just our brains that goes wild at like humans yelling at each other. And I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, but the majority of my time spent outside of the internet isn't humans yelling. Usually it's just like normal conversations. But then we go on these screens and so much of what we consume is yelling and drama, and maybe the word is salacious. And we clip it and we clip it and we clip it and we clip it and we clip it. And the more extreme, the better.
There's certainly a lot of those channels out there. They're big, you know. And I know what you're talking about. I'm wondering what is, in some ways, Paul Vanderklay does that, but not the yelling part, right? He does clips. But he doesn't take people out. He doesn't clip them at their worst usually. And he has long clips. I wonder sometimes how he gets away with it. 15-minute segments of a discussion. So there is a way to clip people that is constructive. But then there's this predatorial style that I think you're talking about, where you circle like some form of predator, shark or a vulture, and you look for that one thing that you can use and exploit that will get you subscribers, get you eyeballs, get you ad revenue. Not you, of course, personally, but the would-be YouTuber. And the more, like you say, the more salacious, the more it is, the more traction you get, right? But one thing I've noticed is, there's an element of moral outrage to it. Is very little comedy, true comedy, but a lot of moral outrage. Would you agree?
I don't know exactly what you mean, but the thing that came to mind as you talked about sharks is like the people that are talking also become sharks. Like, and I've seen this in myself, where like, if I'm talking and I know that I might get clipped, then I'm going to be incentivized to like talk like a clip. Because if I get clipped, I also get traffic. So like I might clip somebody, but if I can get clipped, then like that's going to boost me too.
Okay, so you're talking about a kind of self-exploitative factor to this as well.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, and it's very like, there is no bad attention if you're trying to make money, because if you can get attention, then you're getting eyeballs. If you get eyeballs, that's money. Like that's how you get paid on YouTube, is to get attention. And so like whatever it takes. And if you have like people around you in an audience that's like hyping you up to like more and more extreme behavior, then it's like now you're doubly incentivized. You're going to get paid, and the people that are watching you are like, yeah, do it. And it's like there's a whole system here that's working from like multiple directions, incentivizing the extreme.
Has that okay, since we're both corner citizens, so to speak, um, to what degree do you think that culture, which we know is pretty ubiquitous on YouTube generally, has it penetrated into the TLC? And to what degree, without naming names, do you think it's soaked in? Or
I mean, how many people in TLC are getting paid? Like, how many people have paid channels where they're making money, or this is their career? Right.
I don't think there's any careers yet. I mean, I guess close might be Grim Grizz, and he clips everybody else, but in such an odd way. I don't get it. I think of it as poetry or performance art.
It's definitely performance art. Yeah.
Yeah. Christian, he's got enough. He's over 1,000 or whatever it is.
I mean, he hasn't posted in months at this point.
Has it been that long?
Well, maybe not months, but at least over a month.
It's not a career.
No.
None of us are at that level where it's, but the mindset though. So it's like, okay, let me back out of it and say, what makes clip culture work?
Probably
I mean,
advertising.
what's the mechanism that in the audience and in the ecosystem that makes it so successful?
Yeah, I mean, I can't like speak with any authority to that. I mean, I think you could make an argument about like I've been hearing people talk about one of the reasons that the like the idea side of the internet is so male dominated is because it's like hunter gatherer brain. And so it's like you go out and you're like hunting and gathering for like the clips that are gonna like feed your family by becoming attention. I thought that was interesting and slightly compelling. Some of it I think is just like warrior language of like, oh, this person is my enemy, so I'm gonna like find them at their weakest, and then I'm gonna like wield a clip like a sword. And certainly that's effective because I think the majority of the people on the internet talk before they think. Because if you start speaking slowly, like, I mean, that's kind of like, I mean, it's boring.
Like I do. Very slow speaker. Well, okay. Before we leave the subject, is there anything constructive about it? Beneficial?
I mean, yeah, I think like I'm generally of the opinion that, I mean, clipping in some sense is like a tool. It's a way to like use the internet. It's a tool on top of the internet. And like you can use that for good or you can use that for not good. Um, you know, thinking about the way that Paul Vanderklay or Griswold Grimm, like their shows are built around clips. And they are like hunting and gathering for clips. You know, I think PBK is like he's wanting to see like this is what I find interesting and like he's doing like commentary on it. Um and commentary from an old wise pastor who's seen a lot. Like there's value in that. Um Grizz, I think performance art is like a great word for what he's doing. And so show is entertaining, but it's also like deeply philosophical. You know, there's very little in his show that isn't put there with a intention. Like it's very thought out. And even when it seems like it's not thought out, that's thought out to make you think that it's not thought out, I think.
Mhm.
Or I even think of like Neil does the what are the goofy ones called? Worldly News Tonight, which is a bunch of like usually kind of like extreme clips, but the entire intention is for humor and to have inside jokes within a group. And I'm pretty confident that, like, the goal is that we're laughing together, not laughing at each other. We're laughing with each other. Um, I mean, yeah, I think like I don't know. I always think like I think it's Tiedemann's phrase, trample the internet with the internet. Like I think it's possible. Um, but it's way easier if you're not getting paid by the internet. Because the minute you start getting paid by the internet is your boss.
Curious. You said that 8 years? I mean, I think it's funny that you deconstructed along with leaving the internet. That's interesting. And I also didn't realize that Ron and I, our little house of Woo was your first stop.
I mean, technically second. It was a
Okay.
PVK live stream where
Okay.
I was like clicking on the buttons, not realizing I was going inside of the live stream. Because I'd never heard of StreamYard, and live streams were new. Like the live streams weren't around. Because I'm now on 34, so that's 9 years ago. What is that? That's 28.
Yeah.
Wait, no, 9. This is embarrassing. 2015. I don't know. 2015, 2016. So I don't know. Whatever the internet was then, like live streaming was not a dominant part of the thing. And so I knew about Twitch because I liked video games. But I never did anything with Twitch. I wouldn't really even watch Twitch. I just knew about it. So all of the live streaming stuff was completely foreign to me. What
did you do
without the internet?
Without the internet?
Okay, well, I mean, I moved from Wisconsin to Los Angeles, and I don't know that I even actually talked about this, like in detail.
Okay.
But
you don't have to. I'm just curious.
Well, there were 5 of us from the Midwest that moved out. So I had 2 groups of friends that were moving out, and I knew that I needed to get out of being employed by a church because the questions I was asking couldn't be dealt with within the church, at least not the church I was at. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I needed to ask the questions. Otherwise, I would like just go on living a lie. And I'm not good at living a lie. I'm good at lying. I'm very good at lying, but I'm not good at living a lie.
Your nose grows or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's probably because I'm good at lying to other people, then like lying to myself doesn't work. Something like that. So I just was like, hey guys, I'm going to come with you. So I packed up I had like an old Toyota Camry and we drove to LA and we lived out of our cars for like a month and a half, 2 months. I joined like a homeless community behind a Planet Fitness and they like taught me what an EBT card is and how to get free stuff. And then eventually the 5 of us got a 2-bedroom apartment, spent a year in LA. And there was so much to do in Los Angeles. We was doing auditions, we were hiking, we were surfing, we were living it up we had no money. We were poor, but we're at the time of our lives. And then I moved to Chicagoland for a year, came back to Wisconsin, bounced around Wisconsin a little bit.
Didn't you have a podcast somewhere? Was that before or after? Was during that period? Or?
That was after I came home to Wisconsin. Yeah, that was during COVID. Like a month into COVID, my buddy Jason and I started reading through Howard Zinn's The People's History of the United States. We almost got to the end of it. At the time, Jason was a very staunch conservative, and I was something else, not that. So it allows us just kind of I would just play devil's advocate to all of his positions. and we just kind of argued through the book because that book was like super hot during COVID. And
Hmm.
we were both curious about like, what does this book actually say? What is the worldview that comes out of this book? And yeah, so we did that and that, but like that was just a Spotify. So there was no social element. Nobody ever emailed us.
So when you say you're off the internet, you mean in the social media sense?
Yeah. I mean, I would like use Google. I would use Spotify. I would listen to lectures on YouTube mainly. I had like
Right.
shitty wage labor jobs. So uh I was just minimum
Lectures
wage
are
or
great
slightly
for
above.
shitty. Yeah, lectures are great way to learn while doing shitty work.
Yeah, I'd counted screws for a while, and so I just moved the screws over and listened to Jordan Peterson lectures.
Pick out the bad ones. Um, no, I've had that kind of work. Um, so yeah, okay, interesting. That fills it out a little bit. Helps me understand. Um,
What do you think?
about clip culture,
Yeah.
or I thought when you made that observation, I thought, yes, that was the right word for it, or right phrase for it. I liked it a lot. And I grasped what, at least even if I couldn't define it with precision, I could picture what it looks like in my mind because I've seen it so much, right? Where it's play 3 seconds and yell, you know, "That's why these people need a lobotomy," and whatever it is.
Well,
And go ahead.
sorry.
No?
Well, I'm saying I think there's even an argument for like clip culture brought us YouTube Shorts now being everything.
Or maybe shorts were just the additional fuel or something. Yeah, something turbocharged it, you know.
I mean, I would
It
assume
does
YouTube
seem like
looked
it's
at.
gotten worse. It's gotten worse. But these career guys, I mean, I don't know where because like I think of some big names. I'll name somebody on the left, like Vosh, right? Paul. Some of us in the corner know Vosh because PVK was interviewed by Vosh. Vosh is a left wing YouTuber who has a huge following. Um, and I think he probably got to start in game with the Twitch and the gaming thing, you know. Because they all run the same kind of, at least many of them do, run the same kind of format, you know, kind of have multiple screens up and a scrolling chat stream on the side, and they talk and they you know they go through clips or they read articles and they yell and it's back and forth and answering the Discord and this and I mean it's very busy. It's um it looks constructive for those who are into the game, so to speak, but probably to a rational person who's outside of it, I'm guessing it probably looks like a madhouse. I mean, I because I can name others. I mean, you know, I was recently exposed to a couple that I'd never heard of on the right, and I'm like going, they're doing exactly the same thing. Or Destiny. Destiny's another famous one who plays that
So
very.
playing video games.
I think they began as video games, and sometimes they may still play video games and comment on things and yell about politics or society or the other side. And I think they all began as video game players who then went off into other avenues. You know, kind of the as a Zoomer version of Tucker Carlson or something. I don't know, but it is. But shorts. See, shorts are funny. I find shorts helpful if they connect me to a bigger story. So I'll glance at us because I am a news junkie. I like news. I don't find it dysregulating, but because I like to stay informed, but at the same time, I don't know where all to look these days because the old gatekeepers are really dead. Except the only one left standing that I respect is like New York Times, and half of the corner hates that. So I mean, it's just like half of America hates the New York Times. So, but anyways, I still take it seriously, and so, but I don't want to get all my news from one source. So I'm always looking around for new angles, new information. And without the filters of the gatekeepers, it's kind of hard to do. But shorts are an easy way to kind of dip in and out and say, "Oh, garbage," And then, but lately you have the option on your feed, on the general one anyway, at your front page of YouTube to see fewer shorts. I'm hitting that a lot more these days, seems like, because it does clutter. But I also skip through that and I go just directly to my subscribe feed more often than not.
It's
To
all
see who is that what you do? Yeah.
I mean,
And that's real helpful. Because I don't find the algo that helpful.
yeah, I will occasionally look at the like front page. If the front page is 3 inches or something, I might look at the next 3 inches, but like I just won't scroll. Like I don't know if I just am naturally not a scroller. I mean, when I've been in deep depression, I scroll a lot. But I'm not depressed right now, so I'm not scrolling.
Okay. Yeah.
But like
I
there's
can see that.
something about being depressed and just like scrolling that like is really nice. Um, but I yeah, I don't I like, currently, I don't get scroll like, I know that there have been times in life where I was a big scroller. Right now, I'm going like, I don't know why would I wanna scroll? I don't I'm having trouble, comprehending it. But, like, with news, um, like, I studied journalism and advertising. That was what I it took me 3 times. I dropped out twice. Double dropouts are a rare breed. Um, but all my professors were like, it's done, it's dead." Like, the 24/7 news cycle killed journalism. There is no real journalism. Every professor, full agreement. There is no real journalism left. Um, and I think of that when I think about shorts too, to be honest with you, because there's this like 24/7-ness to shorts and to scrolling where it's like it's always on. And so you could get a Walter Cronkite who like come on once a day and everyone would say, "Hey, you're leaving money on the table, man. You gotta come on 7 times a day. You can't just come on once. Once isn't enough. Post twice a day." And so like, even if we got the thing that would like save us, we wouldn't want it. It would be too boring.
Well, as I pointed out, I'm leaning into the boring right now. So I showed before we started recording, I showed you I'm going vanilla.
Talk about that. Yeah, I'd like
Let's
I'd
see.
love to hear more about that.
Um, well, because I'm increasingly concerned about what's going out of my mouth and into your ears or anybody else's ears, because I have no control once it leaves, you know, my brain through my breath in the microphone. And what I'm finding is it's it gets refracted in through everybody else's perceptual instruments and gets I don't know what you're hearing half the time. I mean, I've always had that sense a little bit with my haters, and I've have some I've even though I have a teeny tiny channel and I don't grow very much because I lose subscribers as fast as I make them. That's really true. I've been treading 250 for a year, but so it's a tiny channel. I get lots of activity on it, but interaction or whatever they call it. But just keep rotating through. I'm at a level. Anyway, but I've had and off and on again a number of haters, and I would say, and I just would be absolutely puzzled by some of the conclusions they draw, and I knew that they just aren't hearing what I'm saying, or I'm either don't know what I'm saying, and that's very possible too. So I have to revisit that. So sometimes I'll re-listen and go, okay, yeah, you said that right. Or sometimes I'll say, I could have said it better. Or, I've never looked, but now I'm really wondering with all of this content and this, I am really going, I'm dialing back on everything that juices up the attention. That is to kind of make it, it's like I'm gonna like it showed you my thumbnail that I put together today. That's
Yeah.
just simple, and it's going to stay that way for a while because I just I don't know um, what people are hearing, and I want it to be what I do want to do is be a constructive force in their life because I think there's something about the flood of data and images and like you say, all the voices in our heads that are coming through the screen. And it's some of us just can't process that in a way that keeps us healthy. I mean, so it seems to have well, and I noticed this in myself because there are just I mean, there's a lot of sad stories out there right now. I probably always have been, but man, there's just a lot right now. And I I feel that rage build up just by watching it. I mean, most recently was a story about a Venezuelan family that was 2 months in a detention facility, and it turns out they've been released. They're that there was no reason to hold them for 2 months. There's no basis. They just were released. There's 2 kids, a wife and a father, and over that 2 months, they lost their house because they couldn't make rent. Because they couldn't make rent, they lost all their possessions, and they kept being immigrants from a corrupt country. They kept their savings in cash, and they lost all that. They essentially lost everything because the government screwed up, and I look at the story like that, and it's just like and you see 10 more like it. You can see 10 more like it in less than 10 minutes. And at one level, I know I should be able to hold that information prayerfully and not lose my mind, but boy, it's hard. Um, I mean, I'm using all my mindfulness skills to not lose the go into a rage, and I can see why a person would.
Well, and you
Um,
you have, like, mindfulness training. That's something that was, like,
yeah,
important to you, or it's
thousands
still
of
important
hours
to
of
you,
training. I've
and
got
most
lots of
people
meditation.
don't have that.
No, and it's hard for me to hold it together. And I literally just see myself. I sometimes just say, "Stop, let's turn it off." I know this is an important story. I know these people are important. I know this is an important issue. I just can't look anymore. I literally just walk away, which is also something in my mind to be cautious of because I don't want to develop a hard heart.
But, like, the thing is, like, my conservative friends would say the same thing. They wouldn't tell the story you just told. They would tell a different kind of story, but they would talk about the things that are triggering them, and there's an endless flood on both sides. Um, it's funny because I was talking that this morning? I think it was this morning because yeah, I didn't go to work today because we had, like, a bit of a snow day. We had a lot of snow. I kinda got, like, pink eye, so
No.
thankfully it's not infectious through the internet, I don't think. Um, But I spoke to CW today, and CW is always on my case about not taking a side. Cause I go, listen, man, like I've never voted federally. I don't swear allegiance to anybody. He's always like, you're so libertarian. I go, I'm not libertarian. Like, I just don't give allegiance easily. And the libertarians have things that trigger them that are different from the conservatives and different from the liberals. And like, it's everyone. Everyone feels that way. Everyone tells a different kind of story. There's different pain points in their worldviews. But like, the internet knows your worldview, right? Like, it knows all kinds of biographical data about you, and it knows precisely what to give you to cause you anger or cause you stress or cause you whatever, anything that will incite a reaction, especially from you. Because if it can get a reaction, that's engagement. Like, the internet can get you engaged. And
yet there's something real to it as well, right? I mean, we're not talking about this. We're not talking about fake stories here. I mean, if there's
we're not. Sometimes we are.
building, yeah, sometimes we are. But if the building burns, and I mean, what was it? We had a big wildfire, tens of thousands of acres burned, and was related to, I think, power lines. There's been a lot of those kind of fires in California in the last 10 years. I can go to the burns. I can go right there, and it's within driving distance to see where it burned and the houses that went down or whatever. Real stories.
Yeah.
Most of it, they're real. The fakes are there's serious fakes out there these days, but and the algo is not necessarily, the algorithms are designed, I would say, I know some people assign real malice to them. I'm guessing it's probably more benign than that, because we're always looking for someone to blame other than ourselves for our responses to things. And I tend to think that it's my responsibility to both be educated, engage in the world constructively, and be responsible for my actions and my emotions. When sometimes too much is too much. I mean, there are nurses who have to walk away from a situation in the middle of a crisis and take a break so that they can ultimately get back to work. And these are people with, I need help. This person needs help. And yet they don't walk away. They won't be around tomorrow to keep doing their job. So it can be steeped in reality, and yet we have to all engage in some self-management.
Well, I mean, the internet's like a weird thing because everything we're talking about, like, nobody needs to be here. There's no reason you need to be on the internet.
Commercially, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand.
But I mean, like, you don't have to get information this way. You don't have to talk to people this way. Like, we choose to do it because it's like sexy and shiny and it's like fun. But like, I think it's more of like a succubus where it's like, it's just sucking the life out of us. And we're like, but it's like, it's so sexy. And it's like, yeah, but it's killing you, but it's so sexy. Like, we don't have to be here.
I would say you don't have to buy your food at a supermarket either.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't, because it's full of processed food that's going to kill you.
But it's also full of healthy produce that if you choose to buy it, you can buy that.
Yeah, but
And
like,
you don't
there's
have
so
to
many
kill a
advertising
chicken.
tricks.
Sure.
There's so many advertising tricks where like they know, and like, this is what I studied. I studied like, how do you psychologically manipulate people into doing things they don't want to do? And so we put chocolate bars at the front because you've made so many choices up until that point that your like choice part of your brain is just broken. You go, okay, I'll buy the chocolate bar, I'll buy the gum, I'll buy the thing. Like
Mhm.
my iPhone is like, it's so smooth and it's so frictionless that I had to like completely attack it because I lost every time. There was no way that I could not click on the notifications. Like these things are hacking our biology, and we're going like, oh, I mean, it was just like you're gonna lose. You're fighting a losing battle, and we think like,
Let me
no, we're gonna win the battle. No, you're gonna lose. We're all gonna lose.
yeah.
But
I
I think
was
kind of a radical
talking about
place, I guess.
no, it's no, I don't know, it's fine. I was just when you talk about notifications, I was just it's gotten so bad on my Android. There's so many notifications. I'm like, look, I was looking at I'm trying to look at my phone. How am I gonna get control? Because they're useless at this point. And this is a mild, I mean, this is a mild list, right? This morning it was several swipes to get all the way to the bottom because I never check my notifications anymore. Because or I glance at them like twice a day because it's burdensome, and some of them sit there for 3 days because I never get rid of them, you know? And because what they want you to do is ding, boop, ding, boop, ding.
Yeah.
You lose your friggin' mind. So it's gotten to a point where it's just like I've either silenced them and they still get posted, you know, on the list, or I hear the ding and really don't hear the ding and respond. So I then like twice a day I clear them, or sometimes I clear them. Now it's more like twice a week. I think because they just pile up, and then and occasionally I look for. I guess do a quick little glance for anything that might be important, like the bank or something. I always pay attention to anything from a bank. Um, I
And
think it's a feature of the civilization. See, this is the thing that we're
mm,
I don't know if it's as escapable as you suggest. That is, or as optional as you suggest,
how
because
so?
it's like we're in the land. We don't build pyramids. We do this, and
Wait, what does that mean? I'm not understanding.
birds build nests.
Yeah,
People have thoughts and create things,
yeah.
and and the more it seems like the more wealth they have, the more frivolous or the more creative we get in it we just it's both frivolous and not. I mean, what real use were the pyramids? I mean, people speculate about the value and, "Oh, isn't that neat? It aligns with the planets or the sun and the moon just so at certain times of, whatever." But humanity probably walked on this planet for 200,000 years before anybody built a pyramid, and we lived well without them after, and it's like the internet is like that. It's just we don't have railroad. I mean, we still have the railroads, but a lot more commerce happens over this than over the railroads now. Um, it's weird. I mean, it's really insane, but it's just a feature of the civilization that um, Meta is worth more than a railroad. But it's
I agree
here.
with you, but I refuse it. Like, there is a
Kings
0%
North.
chance. No, absolutely not.
No, you're not going Kings North. You're not going Kings North on me. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But there's a 0% chance that I am going to allow the children that I don't have yet to grow up in this civilization. Absolutely not. Which means I only have a few years to engage like in my local community and partner and create a new way to live. Because there's a 0% chance I'm going to allow my children that I don't have yet to grow up in the way that children are growing up and the way that's like is recommended for my children to grow up. No way.
How do you, a lot of questions there. How do you accomplish that in your mind? How do you see yourself accomplishing that?
Great question, Mark. So recently I joined Anglican parish, and one of the things that we're doing is we're working on building a guild hall. And it's
As
just
in like trades? You're talking as in the trades, by guilds?
as in we're building a building, and the purpose serves multiple purposes for the life of the parish, but one of the purposes is that we will start businesses that are designed to scale up to city level, be profitable, and employ people near their homes so they don't spend their lives on the highways. And there'll be multiple trades running out. Hopefully there'll be expansions as money comes in. Now, granted, all this is a dream, right? All this is a dream and a prayer. But I don't see any reason why a group of people can't come together and say, hey, we're going to start a woodworking business. And hey, we're going to start a textile business. We're going to start a printing press. We're going to start like this musical recording thing. And like, we're going to use the best of technology and the best of business sense to make these things good, profitable businesses. And then as there's like adults that are working these trades, we're going to run a homeschool co-op out of it.
Are you now, is this where you're going to live until, is this where you're going to be buried? I mean, are you in a place where this is it? This is our home and this is where we're staying forever? Because that's a lifelong project.
Yeah. Jane and I have decided like the plan is to buy a house this year, and we're buying a house specifically to be 15 minutes away or less from this parish. And this parish, another thing that we're talking about building a little down the road, but is like I don't know, they call it like a crematorium. So like, they're not talking about building a graveyard, but they're talking a place to like store ashes.
Mausoleum.
So like, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Because there's a lot of dream and a prayer, and sure, you can say it's all wishful thinking, but like, the plan is to break ground this year. Like there's architectural plans, and that's a whole different way of living. And then part of my plan is to like write all of this down and create it in a transferable way so that, hey, this is how much money it'll cost. And so convince your local parish to try this out. And, we're the trial run. We'll see if we can do it. And we're going to take a swing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you're no longer living somewhere, driving far away to get paid well, driving back or driving to a school. Like I grew up with homeschoolers in like Christian fundamentalism, and all I ever did was make fun of them. That's all I ever did was make fun of my homeschool friends. But now I can't imagine sending my kids to a school where they're going to like, one, possibly be in danger, or two, like be taught with tablets and artificial intelligence. Like, no, I reject that. Like, I'm not going to go along with that. No way.
How many people are involved?
I think there's like 160 people in the parish.
Actively involved in the project? Or is that just parish? Because parishes usually include both active and inactive members. I'm thinking of like a Catholic parish, so I mean it's includes.
I mean, it's similar. Like, we are quite Anglo-Catholic. Yeah, we're growing, so there's certainly new people coming in, and there's lots of old people, and there's lots of babies, and like the child rooms are kind of bursting at the seams, and I don't think it's called a sanctuary, whatever the place where you sit and do masses, that's bursting at the seams. So like, it's very much reminds me of like the TLC Orthodox story of people talking about their Orthodox parish, like just overflowing. Like, the same thing's happening in my little Anglican world.
Okay.
And I think you're going to see more and more people that go like, not Luddite, which is kind of that Paul King's North against the machine, but like, yeah, sure, we're going to use the best of the machine, but we're going to do it to like restructure civilization. And like, there's no reason why you have to live the way that like most of humanity lives. And I think for most of being a Christian, it was like a radical act to be a Christian.
Mhm.
It entailed living differently than the rest of culture. And most of us just go like, "No, I'm gonna be a Christian. I'm gonna live exactly like culture. My life's not gonna look that different." And, like, that's an option, but it's also an option to, like, I don't know, push back against the darkness and try to, like, create beacons of light.
Okay. No, I'm not I'm just processing it 'cause this is news to this is news to me. Um, what do you mean by beacon of light? What is a beacon of light in a civilization that you oppose?
Well, hopefully a beacon of light is a physical place where the human beings and the buildings are in alignment with the will of God. And as darkness comes in, the light shines out and says, you don't belong here.
So does this plan for your life, this is 'cause this life plan, you're gonna d do you see yourself stepping back from the online corner TLC, um, stuff? Because it is I mean, it is a product of this technology. So
But
do
I'm
you
not anti-tech. So no, I like
it sounded like
TLC is
you were. It sounded like you were.
here's the thing. So like I want my kids to be taught by a human being. I don't want my kids to be taught
Sure.
like mediated by screens because I'm pretty sure all of the best science is going to tell us screens are terrible for our children. So like so much of what we're doing in culture, it's bad science. It's not even good science. We're not following the best science. We're just following like the easiest ways to make money or like what's most profitable.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't care what's most profitable. I will make less money. Like I don't need to maximize profits or to like I will live with less if as long as we could like make do and my family could like have food on the table and there's clothes and like I'm good. I'm just I'm out on the whole like endless consumerism. I'm just
I'm
out.
just wondering, are you I when was the last time you were now in an elementary school classroom?
Oh, it's been a while.
Because they've surprisingly yeah, there's the technologies there. 'Cause I'm familiar because my wife is a 35, 36-year veteran. Uh, and granted, she's unusually exceptional. She's on her feet the whole day and in the middle of her kid's business and right there all the time. Um, she's a very active, old school kind of teacher with old school standards, and she gets parents regularly upset with her as a result. Um, until suddenly the kids start realizing they can learn, and then parents slowly become a convert. The first couple months of every school year are always an adventure, but it's it's as a rule, what she's found is the homeschoolers come in usually subpar. She usually has to catch them up, and, she also finds that also the case sometimes with the private school kids, that they're not the snuff, and she teaches in probably the poorest city in the state of California. Um, so and it's rough, economically rough. But, now she's also worried about what they think they're going to try to do with AI. She looks at states particularly that, where there is a lot of hate towards teachers and public school teachers, and she thinks the ones particularly don't wanna pay them well, they're going to leverage, they're gonna leverage AI and screens, so that they can stretch that teacher out as far as possible. That's her concern, that they will use the technology to make it instead of 1 in 30, it'll be 1 in 100 or some awful ratio of student to teacher.
Isn't that
But
the direction it's moved across time? That it's more children to one teacher. Like, is that the direction that it's moved? If you look at the decades,
yeah,
is that a clear trend?
not it well, not necessarily because you gotta go like the old one-room schoolhouses.
Yeah.
They had multiple grades, 1 teacher, and the technology was rudimentary, was, paper and chalkboards.
Well, they had
But
rulers for slapping wrists too.
they might have had better, but if you've ever been around farm boys, it they're they're probably as hard to control as any of our kids today, especially if you had kids that are used to running around doing what they wanna do all summer long, then coming into a classroom, they probably that's how they maintain discipline was to get beat within an inch of their life, um,
That was my
which we
dad and his 3
discourage these
brothers.
days. Say what?
That was my dad and his 3 brothers in the foothills of Pennsylvania.
My dad too. They must have been neighbors.
Could have been. They probably got in fistfights.
They were notorious. They're notoriously difficult and unruly and not necessarily great scholars. Not unintelligent, but just not the society today, of course, sets ridiculous standards too. I mean, the math standards that my wife has to teach to in the 5th grade was probably closer to what I had to deal with in the 7th. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're shooting for, what you're aiming at, and if there's a group of you and you have a group vision, you all buy into it. How often do you meet? How when do you have planning meetings and are you working out budgets and, building up have you, you're gonna need capital and have you figured how far along in your process are you? I mean, and you have some kind of incorporation, or is it gonna be all within the parish, as a religious structure, like for the guild? Is the guild like um, is it, like a auxiliary to your 503c or whatever?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I believe it's all gonna be under the parish. I mean, the parish has budgetary meetings like any parish does. So then, and this is part of the life of the parish. It'll be used for all kinds of parish things as well as other things. There'll be a chapel at the heart of the building. I just you use the word aiming. And one of the things I think a lot about is how when I go to a grocery store or when I get on the internet, the structure of the system is aiming me towards something. And so using the system is being aimed. And most of the institutions that I participate in are aiming me towards things that I fundamentally am against.
Why are you against them? I mean, I'm not being frivolous here. I mean, I'm not trying to
Okay,
be
so let's talk about the
difficult.
grocery store.
Yeah, so
When I
just
go,
say you go into the grocery store. What's the problem with the grocery store?
the majority of the food on the shelves will produce metabolism issues. It's hard to buy ketchup without sugar in it. Why is sugar in everything? It's not good for us. It's in there to be addictive. So I'm being aimed towards addiction just by going to the grocery store. Like if you were to go to the grocery store and counted up every item, right? Made a total list of the items, and then you found how many items in there have sugar, and then you said how many of these items need sugar in order for like this thing to exist. All of the items that don't need sugar but have sugar, that percentage would be the percentage that is aiming you towards being addicted to sugar. Because there's no reason for sugar to be in that product. And all of this starts in 1950 when we decided that we had to like shelf stabilize everything. And yeah, there are benefits to that, but like that's not the way that society has to be built. Like there are other ways to structure a civilization. You could lean into crops and farmers, and those crops and farmers will still have like an extra bounty, and that bounty could be given to the poor. Like there are like, just because we've been doing this for 70 years doesn't mean we have to keep doing it this way. And I'm just done with like the idea that like the government is going to help me or the government's going to like, I don't trust any side of the government. I don't trust any of them. So we're just going to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. And I think that most of civilization can be like, you can get a mere civilization and that it will be more beautiful. And like, I'm going to take a swing at it. Now, 10 years from now, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe all of this will be foolish and, you know, youthful naivete and even worse, youthful arrogance. It's possible. But I don't like the civilization I live in. So I just like, I reject it. I'm going to try to build a better one.
Right. So I'm still wondering what is okay. Cause I mean, a lot of people like ketchup and they have a favorite brand and it probably has sugar in it. We're talking about Americans here, folks. Europeans are probably better than us.
Yeah, the Europeans don't let that stuff in their food.
Well, I've seen a lot of packaged European food. It just depends. They have their pet peeves. It's not all baguette.
The vast majority of chemicals that we put into our food.
Yeah, we're definitely heavy. Yeah.
And it's like we're creating all kinds of problems in our civilization, and it's like for what?
Sure, like for profit,
for profit, or for like endless openness, where it's like you can choose anything. And sure, you could argue that like, oh well, if you remove choices, then that's like towards totalitarianism. Okay, but like, why subsidize the things that are bad?
Right. So would you remove the option? I mean, you're going to remove it from your kids. You're not going to let your kids. You kind of said that you're not going to let. I mean, if you say I'm going to, let's just assume for the sake of the argument, you're not going to successfully reform the society before you have children, but within the walls of your home and within your community, say you do succeed and you have a community, you have, you've raised this ecosystem. Where do the restrictions stop? I guess would be my question there.
Well, I mean, there's no laws. It's not like we're like starting a cult where it's like, here's the way you have to behave. But now there's like different options that are available.
Well, for kids, you do though. As a parent, you're gonna have.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm not a parent, so I haven't done it before.
No running out to the street. That's a rule. That's a law.
I would imagine that like, I want the food that goes into my child's body to fill it with life and not with death.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm not going to fill my cabinet with things that put death in my child's body.
Sure.
And I'm arguing that like endless sugar fills your body with death. It's a choice towards death.
Okay. What about some sugar? I mean, this is fascinating to me. I wasn't expecting this conversation. I really do find it interesting.
Well, if you go to like an evolutionary argument, like how often do people get fruit?
It's seasonal, and it's dependent upon your geolocation, right? So wherever you are within I assume you have a lot of choice at the equator and where there's a lot of water, and you have less than other parts. I mean, it's all seasonal.
And when you're eating those sugary things, the vast majority of them, I mean, probably even sugarcane, like there's fiber there to balance it. So you're chewing sugar with fiber, which does a different thing than just like pulling all of these things apart and putting the worst part of it,
Sure.
which is delicious, into all of the food. And now, like, I mean, essentially, my overall argument is that human civilization has decided that it can decouple from the natural rhythms of God's creation and there will be no consequences.
Right. So
So,
how do you recouple though? This is what I'm struggling is at a local level. I mean, are you growing your own food now?
so am I
How do
growing my
you
own food?
how do you
My
feed
mother,
yourselves?
my mother has a big garden.
Okay.
Um, we are looking, I mean, when Jane and I buy a house, yeah, garden's gonna be a big part of our lives. We're gonna spend time in the garden. We'll probably spend time canning. I don't think we're gonna go fully seasonal. So I'm not arguing like for full homestead. And that's why I'm saying like this isn't the King's North project of like against the machine, but part of it is just like learning the rhythms. Like
Mhm.
for me, I when I was younger, I had like wild mental health swings. And I discovered that like exercise and a strict sleep schedule and
Mhm.
strict nutrition would like, oh, now I'm not depressed and now I'm not like crazy. I'm like in the middle and the swings are like little waves and that's like livable and like, wow, that's really
Sure.
nice.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, even the way we build our buildings is like there's no natural light. As if we don't need natural light. So like all of the best science, like if you were to listen to Andrew Huberman, he's gonna be like, you need to like the circadian rhythm. You need to get light at sunrise and sunset because that does all of these triggers and mechanisms in your body. And there's some people that are like, oh, that's just like a fishing bro. And I'm going, no, no, no. Like he's pointing you towards the rhythms of creation. Like your body is designed to function a certain way. And that design like comes from God. And we're designed to like partner with the earth. I mean, even like the grounding talk of like we are electric and the earth is electric. And like when you walk barefoot on the earth, that like aligns your body. So now you like buy a grounding pad that like goes in your bed, or you can buy grounding sheets. And it's like that's great because that's like using technology to help align your body with the rhythms of creation. So it's just like a God created the world and we should get in alignment with creation and a good science will help us do that.
Yeah,
That's probably
I
like the,
went
the
through
core of the argument.
yeah, I get it. I mean, there's but the different philosophies. For me, it was, about 15 years ago, it was Ayurveda and vegetarian Indian vegetarianism, which isn't
So
veganism.
what is that?
It's a philosophy of eating and medicine that's ancient to India, Ayurvedic. And so it's a set of dietary guidelines as well as natural medicine and so on. It's been a long time since I've followed it, but, I went through a period where I tried it. I lived very healthily and I went through for mental health reasons, for many of the for much the same what you're talking about. I think it worked. It's funny, it's the opposite of keto, which is the hot thing now everyone talks about, but, no meat and so on, but, uh, yeah. I mean, I think paying attention to things regardless of the philosophy probably I mean, if with a I think just paying attention to what you do and how you get your food and how you cook it and eat it. I mean, that's all part of Ayurveda too, there are ways to cook things, and there are spices to use for this or that or the other. Um, just paying attention is a benefit. It's probably you're gonna get healthier just by paying attention. So if you're keto, you're paying attention, or if you're low carb, you're paying attention, or if you're vegan, you're
Yeah.
paying attention. So you're gonna benefit because you're paying attention. You're not running for the Cheeto though because you had a bad day, you know?
Yeah, and all those things, like, couple into each other, right? Like, you get stressed at work, whatever, you come home, and then you binge on food, and that sends you into, like, a mental health spiral, so then you, like, scroll all night, and
Sure.
it's like a civilizational structure, and I'm just going, like, "I don't want any part of that." Like, I'm gonna reject that.
Yeah. No, it was I suppose the thing that's hard is we have so much and we're free to indulge in it.
Yes. And that's
there
the
are
endless
few
data on the internet.
right. Yeah. Well, interesting. So you're gonna write about this journey with your community? How long have you guys been at it?
I mean, Jane and I have been tending there since fall, so we have one more membership class, and then I don't know, we become members, and then this summer, if I do the the catechism class, then the next time the bishop is in town, I can get confirmed, I think. So I don't know, maybe after confirmation I become Anglican. I'm still not sure, but I'm becoming. I'm in the process of becoming.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're becoming what state are you in? Minnesota?
Wisconsin, Southeast
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. You're in a cold part of the
So
country.
yeah, I'm like 2 hours from like downtown Chicago.
Okay. Probably what, halfway between Madison and Chicago or something like that?
I'm like halfway between Madison and Milwaukee, kind of.
Oh, okay.
Like if you put
Yeah. So you
Madison,
kinda know
Milwaukee, I could do a triangle.
my son was in grad school for part of his studies and was in Madison, so I'm somewhat familiar with the area. Um, cool.
Do you ever
Oh,
get like disassociated from too much internet use? Because if I listen
what do
to
you
too many podcasts, I start like I don't know any of the word besides like disassociating, where it's like I can sense that I've looked at a screen or listened for too long and like I feel like wobbly.
oh, yeah, um, sure. I think with the sensation of just needing to take out the earbuds or whatever, or just to have silence. I do. I just it's because I almost everything I consume is, particularly lately, is educational. So it's like I just it's just you hit your fill, right? And you just gotta give me the cat or give me something to do other than this. That's I'll bake bread or whatever. I just need time to. I don't have a lot of time to bake bread anymore. I used to, but yeah. On the other hand, I'm in a different place in life. Because I get a reality check every day because I'm at a memory care center dealing with those problems up close. So that's how I touch grass. I'm with old people at the end and learning how to not hate that, but to just actually just be there. It's not I never say I enjoy it, but it's just it's very grounding. So I have that. Sometimes I've actually wondered what's gonna happen when my mom passes and I don't have that. And then, I'll just cross that bridge. I've have the ideas, but I'm like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Because some
Has that
people are
been
like
like
going, "Well."
hours?
Say what?
Has that been like hours of kind of like your everyday life for
Mhm.
a long
Oh,
time?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're 2 years in memory care with my mom. Before that, she was living with us, and that was a different kind of touch and grass. It wa That was because, I mean, it's scary, you know, they lose money or a little bit of money, they lose a lot of money, or they're in a car and you can't keep we weren't in a position yet to just say no car, right? And you knew that it's just every time she went out in the car, you're praying to Jesus that nobody gets hurt. Or where is she gonna get lost? That was the There wasn't the risk of accident very long before we were able to take the keys away from her because the law took it away from her. But the losing, she just would lose herself. So we went for years waiting for that call and then trying to geolocate her and figure out where she was. So it's just like, because you have to find this person, right? And I don't know what street and whatever. So that was another form of grounding. So I've lived in that world for so long. It's just all of this is kinda easy peasy. It's just not that's why I'm revisiting how I do all of this. I really need to pay attention because I think I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy talking to people around the world and taking in all this information and learning about this kind of history and that kind of history, and then trying to come up with a way of telling the story. And because because I put my time in at the office. I mean, I really, like I've
Yeah.
I'm neck deep in reality. So the virtual stuff is, but like I said, there's that point at which there's too much suffering, right? I can't just, as a consumer, maybe as a producer, there's something as a producer that's healing and empowering. But when I'm consuming news and all this information, and when it's as entertainment, I think that's where the toxicity is. That's where I can really identify with what you're saying. That's when I become discombobulated and or, whatever word you used,
I use like I feel disassociated,
disassociated. Yeah, that
I'm
feeling
starting
of
to my
it's too
mind's
much.
leaving my body, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, okay, like Instagram. Um,
"Are you on Instagram?"
Instagram, I'm on it, I have an account, and I kind of started watching more of it because of news shorts. Not news, but it was more like individuals reporting on situations. But Instagram is like one of 2 things I'm finding, and I'm on it less. Either lots of toxic news or just unfiltered, very just nothing there. It's just, I mean, some of it's real and it's like, it's just, but it's very let's just say toxic. It's just not, it's not, some things just need to be filtered and it's just unfiltered. Or
It's a poison swamp.
it's a poison swamp. Yeah. Or there's just lots of ridiculously pretty people. And it's just like both of those, it's like, it's just too much. I mean, that's nice. I mean, who doesn't like a pretty girl? Even pretty girls like pretty
But
girls. But it's just like,
that's what I mean, like, I lose every time. Like, if I enter that arena, I lose. And I just got
yeah,
sick of losing, so I deleted it. I'm not gonna play in that arena. I'm sick of being poisoned. So I'm gonna, find a way around the poison swamp.
but
I'm
you know what I like Instagram for? Animal shorts. And there's this, so I enjoy watching. There's usually see, like, if I want to have a break, I'll check out these funny pet. Like, it's just one hysterical one where these this there's just dogs running on treadmills and it's hysterical, or it's just so fun. It's real. This guy has now they're probably all AI, but there was a time when they were really filming dogs doing treadmills. It was a thing, real thing. And that's hysterical. And there was this one, there's this Portuguese family, and their little boy would drive his tractor around their farm. And he trained these little animals to follow him, and the bunny would sit in he would, uh, behind the tractor, he put in little carts and attached like a train. And so these animals, he had this relationship with animals, very peaceful and so cute. Next thing you know, he has a baby sister, and he puts his baby sister in the cart with the other animals, and the geese waddle alongside. And it's not AI. This was being produced before AI. And he would kiss everybody before he would get into his little tractor and drive them. Well, now this is 5, 6, 7 years later, so he's gotten much bigger, but it's just adorable. That's a good use of Instagram, and that's the only place I've seen it is on Instagram. He's probably on YouTube now too, but that's, so when there are moments where I enjoy, just in the same way people watch a superhero movie. I can't sit through a Marvel movie or any of that stuff. I mean, I'll endure it for family if they insist I go, but, I mean, it is torture. So I haven't seen a superhero movie I liked in 25 years or more. But that kind of stuff.
What movie was 25 years ago?
Oh, well, Indiana Jones goes all the way back to, what, 1980 or something?
That's not superhero though. Oh, you're talking like what? Like Michael Keaton Batman?
Yeah, that'd probably be the last superhero movie I watched actually and enjoyed. He made a pretty good he made a pretty good dark, but even then it's just like, you know, no, I'm kind of a My Dinner with Andre kind of movie watcher, right? Those are kind of movies I generally like. I like other kinds of movies too. I just not a movie person anymore, I guess. But anyway, that's aside.
Yeah.
But for relaxation, a few minutes of watching that's great. But like you said, Instagram's mostly swamp. I can see.
Let me ask you this, and I don't mean this rudely. This is I am
Whenever they preface it that, brace yourself.
Well, I already told you this. I sent you this in a voice text. I said to you,
I think I know where
that I had, yeah, that I had unsubscribed from your channel,
right,
because I only used like the subscriptions things, and there were lots of like you were doing the post feature, like Twitter, a lot, and I was like, I just don't want all this posts. So are you still going to do that, or are you restructuring that?
I'm going to stop that too, even though
I'm resubscribing. I'm resubscribing to Mark Barker.
Resubscribe and hold me to it. Hold me to it, because if I break, tell me.
Well, hold me to
what's an appropriate use of post?
Too.
Because say what?
I said hold me to my dreams too, because
okay, we'll keep asking each other. Sorry, how are you doing on your dream? No, like I said, I'm really worried about what people are hearing when I put it out there. Because you say lots of posts. I don't think I ever put out more than 3 or 4 in a single day on the YouTube channel. I'd be shocked if I ever did 4 more than once. If I did it, if I've ever done 4 in one, I'd have to go back and look. So there were a couple of hot news days when I'd get really uptight saying people need to see this. But I'm now thinking maybe people don't need to see it. If you find it, find it. If you see a child being abused or a bomb dropping where it shouldn't fall, I'll leave it to the algorithm to deliver it to you. I'm not going to put it in my posts. I'm not sure what to do with the Twitter. I've deleted multiple Twitter accounts over the years. At one point, I was an early adopter to Twitter. I was around on Twitter during the fail whale days, and you could only renew it sketchily, like once every 30 minutes if you were lucky, because it would break.
Wait. What do you mean by that?
There was a time on Twitter when it couldn't handle the traffic. They couldn't figure out how to manage the traffic, and so you'd get what was called the fail whale, and you could Google it and you'll see it in the images, and it's great. It was fun in those days, and it was so cool. I met people in Russia, and we would talk about I had a whole fashion thing. A guy wanted to immigrate to the United States back in, this would have been good Lord, pre-Obama, because I was on Twitter before Obama got elected, well before Obama got elected. So back in George W. Bush days. Abu Ghraib. Around that period of time is maybe when it came out. Anyway, I'm talking to this Russian kid on Twitter, and his little picture, his little icon, whatever we call it, avatar. I think we called them avatars at the time. Was a Nazi. I think it was an actor in a Nazi uniform, an SS uniform. And I said, dude, you want to immigrate to the United States? They look at stuff like this. You don't want to. Back then, you didn't want to come in looking like a Nazi. And he said, but he was attracted to it because of the fashion. That was what he thought. For him, it was a fashion state. He liked the fashion.
I mean,
So
we liked the fashion. We'd still like Hugo Boss.
Right, that's true. I forgot about that. That's true.
That's just a fact.
That's true. I forgot all about that connection. They're sharp dressers. And it was so funny but I had a conversation with people. I made friends in New York City, and I sent them I made a whole bunch of wooden spoons out of exotic woods, and I sent them out to friends that I made on Twitter.
Are you a woodcarver?
I was a shoemaker, and I know how to shape things.
You were a shoemaker?
Yeah. Long time.
Have you talked about that?
I've never heard a little bit. Luke knows, and it's not something because I owned a shop at one point, and I was mostly it was shoe repair, but I developed skills where I could do pretty much anything I wanted to with leather. I got to a pretty good point.
You were cobbling for the hobblers?
My specialty particularly was rock climbing shoes. And because that was a really hard technology to perfect. And I was at the cutting edge of preparing and even designing rock climbing shoes. Never got none of my designs ever made it to market, but I was in the mix. But it was really hard to make these in those days, particularly to repair them, and they're very expensive. And they were expensive for the time. These days they're not expensive. But it's funny. Basically, I think people are paying probably the same price for a new pair of rock climbing shoes that they paid for them 40 years ago. Probably aren't that much difference in price. But that, and then cowboy boots, Western boots. But I could rebuild anything. My uncle brought in a pair of shoes that were it was his favorite pair of dress shoes. And they kind of had an Italian loafer thing going, so the leather was paper thin but very, very soft and float. It was his favorite pair of shoes, and I literally just took them and completely apart, and relined them, and refinished all the edges, then reassembled everything around new insoles and new heels, new everything, top to bottom, except that the only thing that wasn't new was the outer. The upper outside leather. And I was good. But we worked around a lot of chemicals, and we were sloppy about the environment, and I developed a sensitivity to it, and I just couldn't work around it anymore. I couldn't keep my shop open enough. And I think too, I was still fighting the bipolar thing too. So I had super severe allergies to the environment, and I was fighting depression, which of course it becomes a feedback loop, right? The physically sicker you are, the more likely you are to be depressed, which makes you physically sicker and less likely to recover. So I moved on with life. I've had many lives.
Wow.
At 62. This is the scary thing about the Catholic thing. When I stop being pseudo-Catholic, when I become a real Catholic, that first confession is going to be a dilly. I'm going to buy the guy a big bag of movie popcorn and say, hunker down, Padre, because it's going to be a long one. Do you have to do confession to get into your church for that first?
No.
That first time?
No. No, we have open communion, even open Eucharist. or any baptized practicing Christian.
Lucky duck.
You can become Anglican.
No, it's not in the cards for me, I'm afraid. I'm really kinda into this thing. I'm
That's
really
great.
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I don't it's like, I've gotta do a whole thing about I hinted on it today, the real presence and the, apostolic succession,
Yeah.
and, so I'm kind of but I just I don't know. It's scratching an itch. I mean, I'm mentally better. I mean, in terms of all the things
Me too.
that have helped me, it's going to mass. I feel much like my anger level has come down in 5 weeks. It's just noticeably.
Did did
Super weird.
where you were before, were you, like, in on transubstantiation or real presence or whatever, all the different words, like
The church I was at was Churches of Christ, Christian Church Restoration Movement, all that stuff, there's the denomination. There's several groups
yeah,
within that realm, but it's Stone Campbell movement, and they were in terms of very low church, very primitive, but it was a Zwinglian kind of theology on the
okay,
Eucharist. So there was no Eucharist. They didn't call it Eucharist. It was grape juice, and these little square crackers and they treated it like grape juice and crackers. Like, that's what we were drinking, grape juice and crackers. We did it every week, and they called it
yeah,
communion, but it always freaked me. I watched them do it the first time, and I kinda couldn't believe it because 'cause I've always approached communion intuitively as a pretty sacred moment in the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
service. That was just somewhere built into my sensibility. I don't know where it came from. It just was my feeling. And they had a trash can they had a little altar table up front. This is the way they did it, and they are doing it to this day, to my knowledge. And up front, so everybody'd line up, and we'd go forward to this little table, altar, and they had their plate with the little sauce for little cups, little plastic disposable cups of grape juice and another little cup with the cracker. You then took said cups after consuming, and you threw them in the trash can, and
Yeah.
it rattles me to this day. What I would do is because I couldn't just do whatever I mean, I just couldn't not do what the everybody was doing, but at the same time, I didn't know. So I'd always bend down low and because I just the sound of it created on me, but just the action of it seemed just not right. And I think now I know why, 'cause I think I'm very much a real presence guy. I'm totally into that. I totally think that's right on, and I don't know I mean, the only thing I mean, I say I don't know why the Protestants got rid of it, but I mean, my sneaking suspicion is they needed a revolution, and you had to get rid of it to have a revolution.
It was probably just
Yeah.
throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
in some
because
sense.
it and the apostolic succession kinda move in sync because you need that apostolic priesthood to to make real the sacrament, and you remove you had to move on. You had to get rid of the apostolic succession so that you could have your Protestant revolution or reformation, because you had to unseat the powers so that you could assert and in the Restoration Church, the Restoration movement was very democratic, so it's a democratic polity, and,
Mhm.
that's not apostolic either, so which is a very American movement. There's a lot of churches like that. Um, but it turns out that I just in my DNA, I think I have high church DNA in that sense, and when it comes to a sacramental view. And it is a non-sacramental church, so it's a bad fit right from the start, isn't it? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You don't always know
Well,
these things. You discover these things about yourself.
I mean, I agree with you in that sense that, like, So, I mean, I grew up with essentially Baptist, right? So it was the same kind of like tossing in the trash can. I never it's in hearing you say that, I'm like playing back memories. Kinda I never thought about that, like tossing in the trash until you said that. Um, and we would do like once a month.
That
Um, and then when I was my first like church position was at like a church plant that was composed of like deconstructed and unchurched people. So there was some liturgy, but not in any kind of formal way. And I preached there, I did communion there a bunch, and they still have my favorite communion is, rip and dip. I'm a huge rip and dip guy. So, like, full loaf of bread, rip that thing off, give it a dunk. I love that because then you get the contact of the bread and the wine at once, and to me, that's, like, the best symbolism. Um, anyway, so then I come to megachurch land, and then it's back to once a month, but I'm doing communion all the time because usually, like, the preacher would, like, preach, then, like, get off the stage, and then I would come on the stage, and I would do communion. Um, and when I was at that little church, we did it every week, and I would often just find myself crying during communion. I think we did call it Eucharist then. And I didn't really understand what was going on or why it was so important, but I remember when I took the job at the mega church that I missed the weekly communion or the weekly Eucharist, and I just kind of was like, I don't know, because I never had any kind of deep theology, and then I left the faith for 8 years, and so now that I'm in Anglican the Anglican way now, um, my entire week is, like, looking forward to taking Eucharist. It's like it's become, like, the center of my week or the top of the mountain, and, like,
hmm,
I feel like it's begun to, like, restructure time for me.
hmm. You're further along the process than I am. Well, I can't take it until I be whatever the process is they initiated into it, but
So what
I
do you have to
think
do
that
in order to, like, fully participate?
they do an RCIA, they call it RCIA classes, and those don't
What is
start
that?
again, and they're finishing up a group, um, Roman Catholic Initiation for Adults, I think is what it stands for, and it's a series of classes, and they begin in the summer and they conclude at Easter. So they're just wrapping up a group of
You
initiates.
gotta wait a whole year?
Pretty much, I think so. I don't
Oh,
I think it happens in Easter, at least at this church. I don't know if that's universal for all Catholics, but
you just
that's
find another nearby church where you could, like, get this streamlined? Find
I'm
the
happy
other
to
Catholic church that has it.
I thought about trying to I thought about going to I've got 3 Catholic churches within, um, 10 minutes of my house, basically. 2 of them within the same parish, another one in a different parish. I'm on the border. And I could go to the one in, just 10 minutes away. I thought about trying it out, but I really like this one, and, I like the guys there, the priests, and the people seem nice. It's very I love the thing that I mean, in terms of community, I love that all ages are represented. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's so cool.
it's lots of kids and lots of old people and everything in between. Teenagers. There are teenagers around. That's fun. And
Do
they
the
enjoy
kids go
being
up?
there. No. No, everybody goes up. You can go up, they'll do this if they're not ready for communion, but, uh, once they're catechized, then I think they at a certain age, uh, so they'll come up. Everybody goes forward to get blessed. I haven't done that yet either. I'm very
You didn't
timid.
go up to get the blessing?
I don't even know what to do yet. I'm, like, still trying to figure out I'm still tr I just finally figured out where to find a liturgy for the week. I'm, like, going, "Oh, there it is." This book, because it was Spanish on front. I kept going, "That must be the Spanish version of this
Yeah.
book." No, it's Spanish and English, and it's got the liturgy for the year, all of it in it, and then the other one is the hymnal, and even then, I'm like, I'm just kinda rolling with it, and I'm taking my time. And,
You gotta go up and get blessed, man.
I should. I I'll
There's no reason to prevent the blessing of God in your life, not when it's being
I have
offered
it.
to you.
I understand that. I figure I got it. I'll go when I'm ready. It's like
It's the
believe it
best
or
thing in
not,
the
I'm
world.
shy. Like, I don't in certain settings, I'm all like I'm really afraid to I mean, it's like, 1, there's hundreds of people in this church. Our the Eucharist, that service takes them 10, 15 minutes to complete.
It's so long.
Takes forever. And that's multiple stations. I mean, it's like sometimes there's 2 priests working this thing plus all the attendants. So it's hysterical. Um, and, it's, nobody's tripped me, but I'm, like, afraid to just I mean, the priest is, like, in so much demand. People line up to talk to the priest. So I always for now, I just keep slipping out the side door because I'm like, "He's got other problems." At some point, I'll become an annoyance, but I'm really happy to not suck the air out of the room. I'm just here. I really I mean, I find it I'm learning how to just be comfortable with it. I mean, we've got an image of Mary on one side with a crown. This is at the chapel that I'm going to right now. We've got two locations. At this one, there's a crucifix at the center, very big. There's a figure of Mary that's kind of life size, and she's got a crown on. I really find her fascinating. There's something. It's very old. I don't know how long this thing's been there. And then there's another figure of Christ. It looks like I believe this would be Jesus or Christ at the Ascension because it looks like he's standing on the world. Like there's a blue globe,
Oh,
half of a
cool.
globe, and it looks like he's standing on the world or on the globe. That's the impression I get. So I believe that's him at the Ascension.
Or like on the
Man,
firmament.
yeah, kind of like. I don't know exactly what the artists or I'm certain there's meaning there. I just don't
Yeah, yeah.
haven't bothered anyone to explain it to me. And it still has this church. It's a humble church, but it still has stained glass.
Oh,
And, so that's beautiful. Um, but now this church was part of one of 3 parishes in Redlands that they combined at some point. And so there's just one Redlands parish, but now there's 2 locations. They are on a building project to put us all in the one location that's also about
huh.
5 minutes away from where I live. And watching them go through the process it'll be fun. I mean, it's very successful, heavy. It's just, I like the people. I mean, they're my kind of people in a lot of ways. I mean, it's heavy Latino because it's Southern California and it's Catholic,
Yeah.
um, which is like fun, but nothing. It's not overtly. I know that we have a Filipino service too, once a month at least. It's
Oh,
a
cool.
fun place. I like it. Although I really don't get most of it. I mean, and then people are reciting things. All of a sudden I realize, oh, I don't really know the Nicene Creed, do I? I mean, I know it when I hear it, but to say it, I know parts. So at some point I'll learn it. And all the back and forth of liturgy,
Yeah,
ugh,
it's
I can't keep up. At some point I'll learn it. I think you're
yeah, I mean,
supposed.
we have the Book of Common Prayer.
Yes, you do. Right.
So it's like it's easier because whenever I go to Catholic church, I'm always I still am like, some of this is familiar, but I'm like, I don't where are we? But with the Book of Common Prayer, you just like it's just you just follow the liturgy in the book, which I find very, very helpful. Um, but the first time that my parents have started coming with Jane and I, so now like my whole family is becoming Anglican, which is
Wow.
strange because that was like a surprise. Uh, but the first time my dad went, he was like, "What was that thing at the end?" I was like, "That was Nicene Creed." He was like, "What is that?" I go, "Well, I mean, it's this thing that Christians have been saying for like 1800 years." Really? I go, "Yeah, yeah, you should check it out." And so it's like it's just like this history bomb because you grew up non-denominational and you're like, You're unrooted from history. And it's like, people have been doing these things for 1,800 years?
Yeah.
But okay, this links up to technology stuff where it's like, we've been living this way for like 70 years. Like
True.
1950 is like this huge turning point. The world wars just like collapse everything. And it like doesn't have to be that way.
And what, the iPhone is 2006. So we've really only been living the screen life for 20 years. So 70 years or 80 years since the post-war consensus, at 20 years in this place. So yeah, I get the
just long enough for a generation to go,
losing.
I know what this thing has done to me.
Yeah.
I don't want it to do it to my kid. Because like when I'm in a chat room, like a PVK Friday afternoon live stream, the last couple months, I started to feel myself just like typing faster than I'm thinking and like wanting to be heard or to be seen. And I'm like, oh, I don't even like what I'm saying. And I just realized, like, if I'm in a chat room and it's fast, I start to turn into someone that I don't like at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think we have maxed out your RAM because you keep freezing up on me visually. So it's probably a good time to close it. This is a great discussion. I didn't expect unexpected turns and lots more we could talk about, but yeah.
We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, we should. We should. And I really hope things go well for you. I hope you get to have those kids soon at some point.
We're working on it.
There's a clock. You only can do so much, but you do what you can. Enjoy. I was always trying to tell people who are trying to have kids. It's like I don't always tell them. I keep it to myself most of the time. I always wonder. It's like, you can't. They struggle and they go through all this horrible stuff. They spend tens of thousands of dollars on IVF or whatever they call it, and
yeah,
it's like just adopt. But they always say it's not the same. But it's like, okay. But it's always an option if you don't want to, because I watched one couple really go through the mill with that technology. Again, talking about technology and money and an industry.
Yeah.
So that's rough. But I'm sure adopting isn't easy either. So none of it's easy. Once they're here, talk about not easy. Well, God bless. Thanks for spending time with me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it was great. So I guess we will sign off.